So, Taylor, energy, that's a broad topic.
Yes.
The first thought in your head when I say the word energy, go.
Energy to me is life, so I would just start there. If you break it down, right, like scientifically, we get ATP from the Krebs cycle. I'm not going to make this a lesson.
No, dude, I like this. This is so cool.
All right, so...
Yeah.
Do we want to like go through
Yeah, man. Whoa, I was like, wait, ATP. Yeah, like,
all right.
I want to learn right now.
So, long story short, every single part of your body has cells. Inside your cells, you have mitochondria. And you take something like energy, such as glucose, or protein or fat. So you think about like carbohydrates, that's all glucose. You have fats that can get broken down into different amino acids and proteins. And so you go through this whole process of breaking down a nutrient, and you make that and convert that into our cells and the mitochondria into energy. And there's an entire cycle that does that. It's much more difficult, by the way, for us to use specific types.
Yeah, it's harder to use fat than glucose.
Right, it takes more work for us to do that, right? So now we're getting the whole exercise.
That's why if we eat too much, we'll gain weight.
Yeah. So
but life is energy.
And life is energy. Without it, we wouldn't be able to move. And our human bodies are really, this is the thing that made me want to go into a field like medicine, is our human bodies are amazing. We take like something like, a drink. We take
this unhealthy meal.
We take this orange drink right here.
It's a glass.
Right. We take an orange drink, and somehow you take something, you drink it, you eat it, and you convert that into energy. And our body has a way of breaking that down, and then our system can move every day. That's an amazing process. So the human body has a lot to teach us. But I think something that's super important to understand is being conscious about how you utilize life or this energy source. You see people who every day they come into life and they're sitting down, their shoulders are turned in, they look exhausted, they're tired, and then you look at the flip side of that, there's these people out there rock climbing, surfing.
And they can be any age.
Yeah, any age. People going to the moon, and you see the difference in life, right? And so we have, somewhere between, 0 to 100 years. Some people can live even...
I'm living to 175, by the way. That's...
Jay Duran just said it.
175. Well, that's another video.
So he's going to get to 175 years old. But not only that, it's not just the quantity of that life, it's how you're living that life too. So having that high energy every single day is what gets you excited about living life.
Exactly.
And so to me, one of the most important things we can do is understand what makes us energetic, or gives us that energy to not just live a long life, but live each moment, each day to a feeling of completeness.
What does give us energy then? What are like 3 things that could give us energy other than unhealthy?
Sure. So running a podcast that's focused around fulfillment, I think, something that really, and this takes a while to figure out, is what drives you, what's your purpose? I think if you live a purposeful life, meaning you're consciously deciding about something that gives you meaning and you're working towards that vision or dream and working towards that, I can't tell you how much that's changed my life.
Wow. What was it for you then? What was your purpose then?
So
that you're driving towards?
And again, that comes to a personal story.
Yeah.
Because I think it always does. For me, a big thing, there's so many stories I could tell. I'm going to talk about, being a third-year medical student. For me, I became anxious, I was exhausted, I felt depressed, I felt like I was burnt out. And I was in this field of medicine, which, for me, I wanted to help people. That was my dream, just to help people. And yet, and not only help people, make them feel healthy, right? And meanwhile, I was the unhealthiest I've ever been. My body was in pain, I was sitting a lot, I was exhausted, I was tired, and I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into? I wanted to go into a health profession, and I'm not healthy. I'm not living the life of being healthy. So for me, that was a very powerful moment where I'm like, I need to change this, and my purpose was to understand how do you be a happy doctor? So the purpose for me in that instance was to learn from doctors who are doing it right, doctors who are fulfilled, doctors who are healthy, doctors who are innovative and creative, and learning from them so I could be the happy doctor I always wanted to be.
Wow. So you saw mentors, and that gave you more energy by finding something from purpose.
Yeah, I think, and again, this is a whole other topic, is awareness. So I think the biggest thing I did was, finding mentors, people out in the space who are doing things right, and understanding what they're doing, and knowing that it's actually possible. I didn't even think it was possible to be a happy doctor, given my perspective as a student.
Wow, that's interesting. So, when we bring this full circle, we're gifted this amazing opportunity on not only a social level or an economic level, but a cellular level, where our body can take something that is not a part of us and make it a part of us, to break it down even on like the mitochondrial level, to give us energy to wake up every morning and make it the best life.
Right.
But then you see some people that are totally not utilizing that and aren't sure why or how.
Right.
And then others that are, and it isn't about the quantity, but it's about the quality, you're saying. And for you, you realized that you'd have to find something that bring more meaning, and you did that through mentors or like seeking that out.
Yeah, and I think, the power for me was, again, I didn't know if it was possible. So for me, I just wanted to find people who were doing it, or what I perceived were doing it right, and seeing if they're actually living this life. And what I can tell you is, after a year and a few months of doing this, that was a huge driver for me. It's given me a lot of purpose. And so one of those tips, like energy-wise, is I've seen people with no purpose, and they don't know what to do with themselves, and they're living day to day, and I see the opposite end, which is people who live lives where they have a sense of meaning and a sense of purpose in their life, and the energy difference and how they approach things and how they live their life is completely different.
You have a podcast on fulfillment. Where can people find that?
Yeah, so the podcast is, you can find the websites, thehappydoc.com.
It's catchy.
And the podcast, you can look it up on iTunes, The Happy Doc, as well. And then all the handles, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat is Happy Doc Podcast. So at Happy Doc Podcast.
Bam! Energy.